Hey guys, it's Mr. Whitley, and today's lesson is for April 28th, Tuesday, and it is amazing that we are almost through this month. Hopefully you guys were able to join me yesterday for our first Zoom meeting, and our goal is to start meeting each Monday about 1 o'clock. We can talk about how things are going, talk about lessons or questions that you may have. I think it would be good for us to be able to get together using that. If you have any questions with how to use Zoom, feel free to have your mom or dad give me a balloons text. It's really easy. You can put it on your tablet. You can use it on your parents' phone. If you have a computer or a laptop at home, all those, you can use Zoom through any of those devices. You don't even have to have a Zoom account to actually join us for a meeting with Zoom. So hopefully you're able to join us. Also, hopefully we're not interrupted by any small crazy dogs this morning. We're still on consonant LE, our last syllable type that we're talking about for the year, and we're probably going to go back and revisit some of the things that we have worked on before in the upcoming weeks. So the first thing we want to remember is LE typically comes at the end of a word. You hear the L, but you don't hear the E. The E is silent, so we cross it out. When we mark it up, after we've crossed out the E, we put the LE at the very bottom of that syllable, okay? And remember, LE can join other types of syllable words. So you can have a word like the one we're going to do now, pebble. So first at home, think about what is a pebble. Think about your own definition. Try not to use the word pebble to define it. For me, it's a small rock, something I find in my garden or in our yard, things like that. So if we're tapping it out, we hear that b actually twice. So we would see the first letter as P, that short E sound, b. The B, but we actually hear that B twice, b-ul. We know that that ul is probably our LE because that's what we've been studying and it makes sense. It goes at the end of the word. We hear the L but not the E. We're going to mark that up. So we would clap it to pebble. We see two vowels, which means we know we have two syllables. We have two consonants that are the same, they're doubled, because this B needs to go with this LE over here, but that E is a short E sound, so it can't be left alone. We need that B to go with that E. So that's why we have that double B. So we're going to scoop and split between the B and the second B. Now, since we have a short E, we give it a breathe. It is a closed syllable because that short E is made because it's blocked off by that consonant. And then our BLE, we can't hear the E, so we mark it up. Underneath, we put our LE. Okay, so those are some of the things that we just need to be practicing and looking at. So one good way to make sure that you're practicing how to tap out and clap out words and syllables is by practicing with nonsense words. Now, nonsense words can be fun to say. They're not a real word, but most of them, if we do it right, still follow our strategies and our rules. So let's do one. Let's do Bartek. Bartek. That sounds pretty interesting. So Bartek. Bartek. When we hear that B, we have the R. That's an R-controlled vowel. It's our most popular one. You take your eye, put your hand over your eye, make that pirate patch. That's what pirates say, R. The AR, T-ek. When we hear the T, that short E, K. and it's the end of a word, we hear that k sound. Typically at the end of the word, we're going to have that CK instead of the K, and definitely not that C, typically. So we're going to clap this out. Bartek. We have 2 syllables, we have 2 vowels. Here's one, here's the other one. We know we have 2 syllables, so we'll split it between the consonants. Bartek. We have that R-controlled vowel, so we'll circle it. And then think about for our short vowel, we give it a macron, it's closed. We have our CK, Bartek. Okay? So you can think of some of those ones to do at home. In fact, I'll give you a couple and you can tap it out and mark it up yourself. Let's do pruffle. 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 That's a pretty interesting one. And let's do chardon. Chardon. So try pruffle and chardon. Tap it out, clap it out, write it out, and mark it up if you can at home with a paper. Okay? All right, so jumping to math. We have been talking about 2D shapes, and in particular, we've been talking about how 2D shapes have things called sides and vertices. Now we saw vertices on our 3D shapes as well, and we know this is the parts where on a 3D shape where the faces and the edges come together and make that point. Well, on this case, a vertice is where the two lines come together to make that point. So this is a quadrilateral. Any 4-sided figure is a quadrilateral. So look around your house, find anything that's has 4 sides, rectangle or square. That's a quadrilateral if it's a 2D shape. Well, let's count how many vertices we have. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I did this yesterday. I like to circle the vertices to make sure that I have them all down. So 4 vertices, and if you remember from yesterday, the sides are going to match up with the vertices. So we have, this is a side, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So the amount of sides we have on a quadrilateral match up with the amount of vertices we have. Now we're going to have a couple new 2D shapes. The first one is a pentagon, and if you've ever heard about the pentagon is a building that is like the base of all the military leaders in the United States. So there's the Pentagon. It's kind of like the White House for the military. So the Pentagon is this kind of cool shape that looks like this. It almost looks like a triangle mixed with a bit of a square. But on this, let's count how many sides we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 sides on a pentagon. And a pentagon doesn't always have to look like this. A pentagon is a 5-sided shape. So you could draw a different shape that has, as long as it has 5 sides and they're all connected, you have a pentagon. The vertices up here for the quadrilateral match the number of sides we have. So let's see if it happens with a pentagon. Well, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vertices. Yeah, it did. So 5 sides, 5 vertices, that matches up. And this guy down here is an interesting one. Sorry, my drawing is not as awesome as I would like it to be, but that's okay. This is a hexagon. Hexagon you might see on some signs. If you're walking around your neighborhood today, see if you can identify a sign that is a hexagon. I won't tell you what it is, but it's pretty easy to find. Let's count how many sides we have and see if it matches up with the number of vertices it has. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 sides. Give me a prediction. I bet you can just look at it and tell me, hey, does the number of vertices match up with the sides in the hexagon? I'm going to say you're going to give me a yes because you're a smart crew, and you would be right, because the number of sides and vertices do match up. And that's a pretty good rule of thumb for 2D shapes. Typically you're dealing with sides and vertices that are going to be the same for your 2D shapes, no matter which one you're talking about, okay? So we'll talk about more tomorrow as far as 2D shapes. And today I want to try something a little different. We have been doing a lot of paths, and we've been doing a read aloud. The geode link that I sent you, the cool thing about it, I also sent earlier, I believe last week, I sent your parents a link to the geode book that you can read aloud at home and also watch a video and have it read to you. On the same website, there are wit and wisdom lessons. So I would actually like to jump into some wit and wisdom lessons with you. I want to do our last unit, or at least do some of our last unit with you that we would be studying in school if we were in school today. So, I'll have a read aloud with that. We won't read the whole thing just because we want to break it down a little deeper than we do our typical read aloud. This book, if you look at the cover, its title is Good Enough to Eat. And if you look at that cover, you see a kid eating all sorts of things. Looks like we have some melon, and we have some meat, we have some lemon, we have some peas, some tomatoes, some pasta, looks like some bread, some more fruit over here, and some peas and some milk. Think about, is that a meal that you would like? For me, I would definitely like that because I love pasta and fruit, and I'm not sure if that's chicken or fish. It looks kind of like chicken, but I could be wrong. It could be salmon. But it looks like a pretty good meal, especially if it's chicken. I'm not a fish guy. So make a prediction, just looking at this cover, as to what topics we'll be discussing in our last unit for Wit and Wisdom. Take a second and come up with a prediction. I'm sure you've got one in your head already, and if you said we're talking about food or nutrition, you'd be right. We're even going to talk about the digestive system, which is how your body takes in food and processes it and uses it to give you energy and to grow. So we'll jump into this book in a minute. A few things that I want you to do, just kind of give me a notice and wonder thought for this. Now the cool thing is you don't have to write it down unless you don't want to, but think about this cover. We've talked about the things on there. What's something that you notice about this cover, or something you can connect to? And give me something that you might wonder about with food, or how we digest food, or how we use food. So think of one of those. What did you notice, or what do you wonder about this, or what do you even predict is going to be in this book? I told you some of it, but not all of it. Okay, so think about that notice and wonder. And then an activity that you can do at home with your parents or your grandparents, whomever's there with you, come up with your own shopping list. Now obviously you can't go to the store right now, you need to be safe. I know your family is going to the store to get food, but think about what are some things that you think should go on a shopping list. Think specifically about things that you eat. And then think about, after you've made the list, are those things healthy and good for your body, or are those things that are kind of like with our needs and our wants? Do you need to have that food or do you want to have that food? Like Eli loves Pop-Tarts. Does he need to have Pop-Tarts? No. That's more of a want, and it's not something that he can have all the time because, that's sugar and it's not really great for your body. Vegetables. Does he want to have carrots for lunch? Probably not. But does he need to have vegetables for lunch? Yeah, he totally does. So come up with a list. You can make it as big or as short as you want. We're actually making a grocery list because I'm probably going to go today. So on our grocery list, we have whole milk for the boys. We have apples. We have meat. We have some vegetables that we're going to get. Toilet paper, hopefully. Those are some things that we're going to put on our list. And, because sometimes it's tricky to get some food, and this time we try and stick to the things that we really need to have, okay? Let's see. So I'm going to read some of these books, or some of this book. So the cool things are on these pages, definitely hand-drawn, really cool pictures. Over here, the list is bread, cereal, rice, and pasta, and you can see some things like a bowl of rice or some wheat bread, bagels, macaroni, oatmeal, I'm assuming, pasta. Over here are vegetables, things like broccoli, and my favorite, spinach, eggplants, carrots. Down here we have fruits. So raisins and cherries, bananas and grapes, which we've been eating, apples, kiwi, always interesting. So good enough to eat. The cool thing is Lizzie Rockwell made the title out of food. I especially like that pizza for that O. So start off with a crying baby. Wah! Babies cry when they're hungry. Dogs bark and howl. When you feel hungry, your stomach rumbles, your legs feel weak. You don't cry or howl, but sometimes you feel cranky. I definitely feel cranky when I haven't had enough to eat. That poor dog's howling, that baby is crying, but it looks like they're getting ready. They're bringing some food to the table. In the nick of time, your dinner is ready. It looks good, it smells good, it tastes good. It looks like they're eating some pasta and bread and some tomatoes. There's even some meatballs in there and some salad. As soon as you eat, you feel better. I definitely do. Hunger sends you strong signals. It lets you know that eating is the most important thing you do each day. The food you eat and drink keeps you alive. It builds, protects, and energizes your body. Food makes you able to grow, think, breathe, move, stay cool, stay warm. You don't have to worry about that now. Fight germs, well, we definitely need that, especially healthy food helps you with that. Heal, live, all pretty important things. Nutrients are the parts of food that your body uses to do its work. There are 6 different kinds of nutrients. You need large amounts of some nutrients and some very small amounts of others in your diet. Now, diet doesn't always mean like you're trying to only eat a small amount. Diet can just mean what you eat each day. Each food contains at least one nutrient, but healthy foods have lots of them. Your body uses different nutrients in different ways. So he's saying you need about this much of each nutrient a day. So carbohydrates, which are like your pastas or your cereals, your grains, you need about 30 grams. Supply main source of energy. So 30 grams, that's a decent amount. Nutrition is a science of food, she says. Protein, so that's meats and lentils, nuts, dairy. It says supply energy and builds muscle, skin, and your internal organs. So you need about 30 grams of that. So definitely nowhere as much as carbohydrates. Fat, 60 grams. Says science doesn't look as yummy as dinner. So it says fat supplies energy and adds flavor to foods. Now there's a lot of people who say fat's bad, but your body actually needs some fat, and there are good fats. You can find good fats in things like nuts or things like avocados, olive oil. Those contain good fats. Fish has good fats in it. It says a glass of soda has only water and carbohydrates. Water, about 2 liters. Water is the main ingredient in your body. It heats and cools you. And over here he says a glass of milk has water, carbohydrates, fats, protein, vitamins, and minerals. So 13 different minerals, 1 gram, so that's a really small amount. 20 different minerals at 8 grams, so that's a slightly larger amount. Vitamins and minerals make nutrients work together. Everything your body needs to do is helped by vitamins or minerals. So you'll find vitamins or minerals in those healthier foods like fruits and vegetables, proteins, meats, good carbohydrates. Now this is what we're really going to get into tomorrow. Digestion is the way food is broken down so the nutrients can be absorbed into your body. Absorb means to be taken into. For healthy digestion, you should eat plenty of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. These foods supply fiber. Fiber does not get absorbed during digestion. It helps carry bad chemicals and excess fats out of your body. And that's where we're going to stop. We'll pick this up tomorrow. Pretty fascinating book. I can't wait to get into more of it with you. Don't forget to come up with your grocery list with your parents or your grandparents. Talk about what's healthy and what's not, okay? And I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. Have a great day, guys.